Hello again, and welcome back to Beat MacReed's free video lessons. Again, thanks to all of you who are helping to spread these videos. Our goal is to reach as many pipers as we can, and that's only possible with your help. In this lesson, we'll continue with a couple of ideas on how to significantly improve your technique. Let's look at something which causes problems for lots of pipers, whether they notice it themselves or not, and which often results in the sound of crossing noises. Much of our embellishments consists of movements which involve shifts from a lower note to a higher note. This causes trouble and is often the source for crossing noises. Let's look at one example. A grip from low A to E. Here, we want to focus on the shift between the last low G of the grip and the next real note, which in this case is an E. If the shift between these two notes is not clean, you will hear a crossing noise, which will come out like this. In theory, and as many piping teachers will probably tell you, you avoid the crossing noises by lifting the low G finger and E finger at the exact same time. However, realistically, this is almost impossible. The solution to avoid these traps is the following. Whenever two or more fingers need to move simultaneously, going from a lower note to a higher note, make sure that the upper fingers are slightly ahead of the lower one. The delay needs to be almost imperceptible. A way to do it is to imagine that one finger is pulling the others. In the previous grip example, we would imagine that the E finger is pulling up the low G finger with this so-called imaginary string. Another similar example occurs when we play a strike. At this B strike, we find the same challenge going from the low G grace note back to the B. In fact, you will find the exact same challenge in shift between regular notes. Playing the note B and going to an E has to look like this in extreme slow motion in order to avoid a crossing noise. Did you see how the highest finger, the E finger, was moving before the bottom hand was moving? Going from a higher note to a lower note, the opposite is true. The lowest fingers need to move slightly ahead of the highest upper fingers. For instance, when making the shift between the note E to the note C, This is a bit theoretical, and most pipers would need to work with this for a bit before really understanding the technique. But it's an important thing to be aware of, especially while practicing slow and open. By the time you have it right, you won't need to think about it while playing, but you can use it as a tool to help your technique if you happen to hear a crossing noise appear between certain notes, and you can use it to correct it. Let's have a look at a completely different way of gaining control of your fingers. You can do the following little exercise alone, maybe in front of a mirror. Try to lift one finger at the time, very slow and very open, and play the whole scale like this over and over. This will force your brain to think in a slightly different way than it usually does, while playing the doublings and embellishments that you already know, and which your brain already does more or less automatically. With this exercise, you force it to be aware again. As you control this exercise better and better, you can speed up, but take your time and get it right first. That's all for now. Please take a moment to forward this video to your bands and use the share button below to distribute it easily on Facebook and Twitter.